Hey guys, this is Camper 15 back at it with on Camper 15 Talk Sports alongside my Uncle Darell, and we are here to talk the NBA Conference Finals recap and the NBA Finals. Kind of wish I should have contacted my buddy Matt because he's a Boston Celtics fan. But if the Celtics win the finals this year, then I'll probably look into having him.
That's when he'll show up.
Yeah.
That's when he'll show up. He is not going to show up until the Celtics win the finals. So that's just, Matt, I know what you're doing. And I know you're watching. So let's just go ahead and let's end the drama. Let's just go ahead and show up and let's get this stuff done. I don't care if it's after game one, game two, whatever. Just please, just show up and let's go ahead and get your doggone predictions on the line. Don't wait until the Warriors win the chip, because that's when I'm going to just go ahead and end it. I'm predicting the Warriors to win the chip. Okay? Are you hear me, Matt? You hear me? All right. I love the Celtics. I really do. Behind the Chicago Bulls, the Celtics is my favorite franchise. Your father can tell you that, Cameron. So just to confirm. But I love the Celtics, but I can tell you, he ain't gonna show up if they win it. They won't. So you can expect a long hiatus from Matt this summer. He ain't gonna show up because the Warriors gonna win it all.
Well, my uncle's prediction is out there.
All the way out.
So let's get into the conference finals, and I just want conference finals. This was probably the most boring conference finals, other than I guess you can say maybe the last couple of games for the Miami Heat Boston Celtics series, because most of these games in both conferences, they were legitimately like blowouts, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah.
The Golden State Dallas Mavericks series, we'll get that out the way first because that was the shortest one. We were pretty much spot on with prediction. We had Golden State in 5. They pretty much blew Dallas out of the water in game 1.
Yeah.
Dallas played a lot better in game 2, but Golden State came back on them, and then they went up 2-0. And then in a pivotal game 3, it looked like Dallas was going to have control of the game and somehow win it. But Golden State, they went on a late run. I think freaking Anthony Wiggins, he had a crazy posterized dunk on Luka Doncic, which was hilarious. And they stole that game. And then obviously Dallas, when you're fighting for nothing, you get at least one game. So credit to Dallas for getting one game at least against the Warriors. But everybody knew, because that game 4 that was taking place legitimately, I think the day after or the day of the very tragic shooting of Uvalde, Texas, and Steve Kerr's press conference. And he pretty much said in his tirade there that it wasn't about basketball. So you could clearly tell that the Warriors weren't really in their right mind. And even Steve Kerr looked like he didn't even probably want to coach the team. And when you knew that happened, and pretty much, it was kind of inevitable of what was going to happen to Dallas, because it doesn't matter. The moment they get back to the Chase Center, it's over, done. And that's exactly what happened. It was a blowout, game over, series over. Warriors are moving on to where they used to be. Kevin Durant probably should be like, I should have never left that place. And I will say credit to the Golden State Warriors. It took them 3-4 years to get back to the point they needed to be back in, because after 3, 4, 5 years ago, they were dead in the water. And you thought, oh, they're never going to freaking make it back again. And then all the injuries and stuff piled on. And now they're back in this position again to win another championship, which further shows you that their team from the 2015 era on has been a dominant, dynasty-like team in this era of basketball for the NBA.
Well, for me, it was pretty much the same. Once I saw game 2 and the Dallas Mavericks pretty much hit the Golden State Warriors with their best shot, and still didn't work. At that moment, I knew this series was over. It didn't matter what Dallas did from that point forward. There was nothing they can do. You can't beat Golden State with just one guy. And it was basically Luka and everybody else. And they were really just clamoring just to find somebody else other than Luka that can get them some type of scoring. And in game 3, again, they made a little comeback, but at the same time, the Warriors, for the most part, controlled the entire game. And game 4, you're absolutely right. The Warriors just didn't care. It was the Memphis series revisited, whereas the Golden State Warriors, for the most part, they just wanted to do it at home. So they took a day off and then wind up closing them out in game 5 at home. So they're in, and it was, for the most part, if you're a fan, it was a great series, and I'm more of a Steph Curry fan than I am a Golden State Warriors fan, so I'll say that. But it was really good to see, Curry actually, win a series without Durant, because for so long, so many people had just pretty much just written off the Golden State Warriors because Kevin Durant was no longer on the team. So, and even he predicted last year when they got ousted in the play-in that they would be back. And here it is, they're back.
Yeah, pretty much. As for where Dallas goes, I think they might need to seriously invest in trying to lure a second star player that can, I guess you can say, Luka can defer to and is a known bucket getter. Because so far, if you ask me, it looks like the game plan to be just the Dallas Mavericks when you just have Luka Doncic and a bunch of just rando guys out there.
That's correct.
Just let Luka do whatever he wants. If he drops 50, who gives a crap? Just stop the other players and making sure they don't do enough damage like a Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie is talented, but he's now by no means he's like a star player. He's kind of like a nice 6-man, type of dude. So Dallas might need to look at potential free agents. I know Zach LaVine's out there, but it seems like the only 2 highest bidders could potentially be the Lakers, which I think is highly impossible they could get him, and mostly the Chicago Bulls. But other than that, they would have to probably wait till the next big market free agent comes on the market unless they trade for one. But even then, you have to wonder who would they be trading for. It's gonna be interesting to see what Dallas does in the offseason. But I think in terms of the Jason Kidd hire, I think it was definitely a successful hire, and I think they're definitely going to be really good in the future unless they have some sort of crazy thing that happens to where they take a major step back. But they showed that they could get to the Western Conference Finals, albeit that was against some fairly overrated teams along the way, but still they got to Western Conference Finals. But they just played another team like they did the last 2 years against the Clippers. They just couldn't defeat because the other team was a better team.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about the long-term scenario for the Dallas Mavericks, yeah, Luka is clearly a number 1. I mean, clearly, without question, he is a number 1 guy. You can actually build a team around Luka. But the problem with the Dallas Mavericks, they don't have a solid number 2. I mean, they got a bunch of 3s, 4s, and 5s, but they do not have a solid number 2. Dinwiddie, as you said, is probably best coming off the bench, but they need another guy that when all is said and done, when Luka is double teamed, somebody that he can honestly pass to before said double team happens, that this particular person can do something. Zach LaVine, maybe, but from a Bulls fan standpoint, I don't have a problem with trading Zach LaVine, just so as long as we get some really good pieces, because I really don't think that he's worth $40 to $45 million a year. That's just my personal feeling. The Bulls may wind up doing that just to keep him in tow, but and it could just be a bunch of rumors as far as what Zach really wants to do. It could be a Clutch Sports thing. We don't know that for sure. So I honestly think moving forward for the Dallas Mavericks, they need a clear number 2 in their lineup, because obviously it's just Luka and a bunch of other guys that, for the most part, for me, are expendable. So when it's all said and done, I think the Dallas Mavericks are in a good spot, to probably get said player. It's just what they're probably willing to give up in order to get said player. But the Golden State Warriors are in, and we'll be looking forward to see what Dallas does next.
Yeah. And then they also
Oh, but let me go ahead and mention this is what I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Jason Kidd, he had a message for his team. Now, me personally, I honestly think it was directed towards Luka to get his tail in shape. That's always been a thing with Luka throughout the years. Whether he could actually, get in a physical shape required to be able to take his team to the next level. Now, I honestly think that's what Jason Kidd was actually doing, serving a message to Luka that, hey, if you really want to take this team to the next level where you think they need to be, then you, my friend, need to get in shape. Because me personally, when I saw Luka in that last game, yes, he looked worn down by the double teams. And they double teamed him consistently. Every time there was a pick and roll, they hedged it, and they hedged it hard and fast just to make sure he passed the basketball. So Jason Kidd, for the most part, saw a lot of the things that I feel that everyone else sees when it comes to Luka, that he does need to get in shape for Dallas to go where they need to go.
Yeah, that's definitely been a talking point about that. And then also another thing, I know that they have to the Dallas Mavericks, they have to make a decision on what they want to do with Jalen Brunson. He's a free agent, so
Correct.
they're gonna have to decide, are they gonna pay him the money he's more than likely he thinks he owes, which is probably a lot, but we'll see if Dallas will give him that type of money. But well, we'll see. Dallas is going to be very interesting to see what they do in terms of just where they're going to be going. But moving on to the next series, it was the more entertaining series because it went the full 7 games. But this was the Boston Celtics versus Miami Heat, with the Boston Celtics taking the series in 7 games yet again, and they're moving on to their 22nd NBA Finals. And I think it's their first one since the 2008 NBA Finals. No, 2010. I believe
when the Celtics won it with Ray Lewis and not Ray Lewis, I'm sorry, Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo.
The last
time.
The last final.
That's not the last. Well, yeah, it was 2010. I think that's the year they lost to the Lakers.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
No, 2009. 2010 was the year I think LeBron then won it.
No, I don't remember.
No, LeBron then went because they lost to the Mavericks. That's
what. Oh, that was 2000. That was 2011.
2011. Well, then it was 2010.
Yeah.
2010. They lost to Kobe Bryant and the Lakers.
Yeah. So yeah, this series, mind you, other than game 3, 5, and then game 6 and 7 were pretty much blowouts. Like the rest of the series, like it was boring. It was like, what the heck's the point? Miami, they blew out Boston in the first game. Boston in game 1, they tried to make it interesting, but they were just blown out off the court. And then the next game, game 2, Celtics blew them on their own home court. And then the Heat take game 3, but then all of a sudden in that game, we found out that Jimmy Butler, he had like right knee inflammation. You're like, oh, is this going to be, something that the Heat have to worry about for the series? And does that mean the Heat are done? So he didn't play in game 4, so they got blown out. Again, I think that was a missed opportunity in this series. The Heat will definitely look back at and be like, we should have won game 4. Because then the Celtics went on to win game 5, but then the Heat won a pivotal game 6. Again, thanks to Jimmy Butler dropping like, I think 46 points in that game. He was going crazy. And then in game 7, even though Jimmy Butler did the best he could, with 36 points to try to will his team back in there, and he almost tried to tie the game with the game, tying shot. Some people will call that shot stupid. I saw it. I think it's kind of a little bit of both, but at the same time, can you really blame him? He's trying to tie the game and give his team a chance to potentially win, so I don't want to blame him. Plus, he's been the guy that's kept his team in that game for the most part.
Yeah, what else was he supposed to do? I mean, honestly. The only way Miami was going to win this series, and it's something we talked about in our other videos, is that Jimmy played out of his mind basketball. That's the only way Miami would have won this series. And so what was he supposed to do in that situation? Defer to someone else? No, because everyone else has already shown that they're capable of maybe carrying the squad as Bam Adebayo did. And I want to say game 4, or was it game 3?
It was a game.
One of those series. So, I mean, but outside of that, when the Heat won a basketball game, it was basically because Jimmy Butler played out of his mind basketball. It was. So again, given a game 7, what else is Jimmy Butler supposed to do? Defer to Tyler Herro or Gabe Vincent or Bam Adebayo or Kyle Lowry? What else is he supposed to do? He's supposed to be the guy that everyone know that he is, take advantage of the situation that's brought to him and try to make a play. Didn't work out, but what else was he supposed to do?
Yeah. Credit to Jimmy Butler. He tried to will his team as best he could. I think also when we go look at that game 7, Boston going up really big early on in that first quarter, it definitely helped them maintain the lead. Now in parts in the second half, the Heat did trim the lead to where it was like either maybe a 3-point or 4-point lead. They just didn't capitalize. They didn't hit the shots. Like there was one part in the game they missed like 9 straight field goals when they could have potentially either
they worked so hard. They worked so hard to make the lead respectable. They just didn't have enough energy, or at least the other cats didn't have enough energy to, take the lead. I mean, basically the rule of thumb is let's just be close. If we can be close, we can let our closer, in this case, Jimmy Butler, take control of the game and he'll bring us over the top. But unfortunately, I mean, they were down as much as 19 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a heavy toll to take on a basketball club when you really only got one guy. Roll Tide! Roll Tide!
Okay, back after that. Funny.
Nothing but a little sibling love just to make a video go really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just to recap, it was 2008 when the Celtics won the championship with Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett, and then the Lakers spanned off 2 straight.
Yeah.
So,
that pretty much happened, and they got down big, and they just when you get down big, it just felt like these guys, the Celtics are cutting them off from trying to take the lead and everything. And it was just it. And then, the thing that we predicted in our predictions from the last video we did for this is we said Boston just is more just scoring compared to the Miami Heat. It really is only going to come down to Miami Heat defense to see if they can just limit to what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can do. But when they were just on fire, they were just on fire. Marcus Smart also chipped in a lot too.
Correct.
And the defense was really freaking good. So credit to the Boston Celtics as well. It was nice. It was kind of a nice little thing. Also, if you saw the game, is that Jason Tatum, he had the Kobe Bryant wristband. Now, however you want to interpret that, if you're a Boston Celtics fan, you don't like that. I guess I don't blame you because, but him and Kobe had a close relationship, and I thought it was kind of heartfelt that he did text Kobe and stuff like that. That was pretty nice and everything. So obviously, that's a good thing. Props to the Boston Celtics. For getting their Ime Udoka as a first-time head coach to get to the NBA Finals in his first year coaching. It's crazy because it looked like, I think way back in like January something, this team wasn't going to go anywhere. Like this team was dead in the water after losing to New York Knicks, and then they just go on a crazy run, and then look at it, they're already in the NBA Finals. So things like that can happen. So it's definitely going to be cool to see the Boston Celtics. I know Matt, he was freaking happy as all get up and everything. Now, as for the Miami Heat, they feel like they're kind of in a, in somewhat a similar position like the Mavericks are. They brought Kyle Lowry there to be the second star, or they claim that Bam Adebayo is the second star. If you ask me, neither one of those two are the second star. They actually like need a legit second star or a number one guy to make Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, they're the same as Dallas. They're in the same boat as Dallas. They got a number one. Butler has proved he's a number one. They just got to have a second guy that can be able to get a bucket on his own without any assistance from anybody else. And Miami and Dallas just don't have that guy, and it's going to hurt them moving forward. It hurt Miami the last time they were in the NBA Finals. You would have thought that Miami would have learned from it, but obviously they didn't. They leaned so much on Butler, and if Butler don't get 40, then for the most part, Miami Heat are dead in the water. So now they should be looking for another guy that can help them out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where that whole thing is going to go. They already have a good coach in place, or not just a great coach in place in Eric Spoelstra. They just have Jimmy Butler and a bunch of role players. And again, some of those role players are like really nice. They're nice role players.
Correct.
But, Kyle Lowry, this series, he did not look good. He looked like this dude. It's probably time for him to maybe think about retirement soon. If not, maybe play one more year in the NBA and then retire. He looks
he had 3 fouls, before the first couple minutes of the second quarter in this game?
Yeah.
3 fouls. So, it's just like he's trying to do certain things on the court, and it's hurting him. And if it's hurting him, it's hurting the team. And yeah, they clearly need another guy. Butler does too much. He did it back then in the bubble, and I just said that, and I'm gonna repeat it. He does entirely too much. And yes, they need another guy.
Yeah. Bam Adebayo, like I said, he's a solid player, but I see him as like the third best player on the team.
That's it. He had that one great game, and that was it.
Yeah. So in terms of our timer for Zoom right now, it's cutting close, but we'll be back real quick. It will just be a quick cut because I'll edit this video out.
Quick cut. We'll be right back.
Anyways, we'll be back to talk the NBA Finals predictions. So we'll see you guys real soon. Hey guys, back. I'm here to talk the NBA Finals predictions. Pretty much my thoughts on just the whole finals, it being the Boston Celtics versus the Golden State Warriors. At some point, I didn't see like it was gonna be like this, but after a while, after seeing just the way they were playing throughout their playoff rounds, I'm like, it just feels like it's gonna be Warriors versus Celtics this year. So yeah, this is definitely a series that a lot of people probably didn't expect coming out of at the start of the season, but throughout the playoffs, people felt like this was happening. So my predictions on this series is Boston. They have been great in the playoffs, all playoff long, as well as the Golden State Warriors. The one thing that Boston has compared to the few other teams that Golden State played, other than I would maybe say Memphis to an extent, is the fact that Boston can actually keep up with the scoring that Golden State can give you. So it's like if Steph Curry hits a 3, Jason Tatum can go right down the court, potentially hit a 3 right back, or Jaylen Brown, Grant Williams, Marcus Smart, he freaking sometimes hits 3s and everything. And then 2, the one thing is Boston actually does have an up on Golden State in terms of the length. They have a lot of length compared to Golden State. Now, I just still think the experience that Golden State has in the past will help them because, they dealt with that, over their entire, run as a, dynasty pretty much. But I think Steph Curry is going to be big. Again, Klay Thompson, I think he's going to be big. Andrew Wiggins, I think he's going to be pretty important for the Warriors if they want to win as well. I think Golden State, their players, they'll show up where they'll show up. It's going to be, Boston, because we've seen throughout the Boston run, when Jason Tatum is off, the Boston Celtics typically struggle to win games. Even if Jaylen Brown is knocking down shots, their go-to guy is Jason Tatum at the end of the day. And if he's not like dropping pretty much 30 plus points, and he's just like say shooting like 5 of 15 or something like that, the Boston Celtics are going to lose games. But my overall prediction, I want to go Warriors. But for some reason in my gut, and I've just been feeling like this the entire run the Celtics I've been watching these guys, it just feels like they're gonna have a meant to be title here. So it just feels like that to me. Some ways I can just tell that from just looking at a team. I felt that same way again. I may be putting bias into it, but with my Clippers, it felt like they were on a run last year. If when Kawhi was healthy, that they were gonna go win the chip that year. That's the same way I feel about the Boston Celtics. I feel like after everything that's happened to them in the regular season and them just making this pushback run and to get into the playoffs, get to this point, take legitimately the toughest path to the NBA Finals, which they went through the Nets, the defending NBA champions, Milwaukee Bucks, and the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference to get to the point now. I think they're going to be confident, especially going against a proven team in the Warriors. But I just feel like Ime Udoka has his team playing with confidence. And typically we've seen it to where, the first team typically blew out the Boston Celtics and they would just kind of just took it as a way of like, let's see what they do and just, observe and then adjust to what they're doing and giving us. So I think I got Boston. I think this is going to be another 7-game series. I got Boston in 7.
Well, keep in mind that the Boston Celtics were a higher seed in their conference than the Warriors were in their conference. So it wasn't really that big of a shock that the Boston Celtics are actually in the NBA Finals. With what the Warriors had to go through, mind you, I think was a little bit more, in my opinion, a little bit more challenging, having to go through Memphis, Dallas. For me, if the Warriors had to play Phoenix, the Warriors would have swept them. It's just, I never really had that much confidence in Phoenix to go anywhere, let alone the second round of the playoffs. So the Warriors, for the most part, they came into this season with only one thing on their mind, and that was to get to the NBA Finals. And they pretty much dominated to get to this point. So whereas the Celtics, on the other hand, the Celtics, for the most part, they showed so much inconsistency. Jason Tatum was so inconsistent throughout the Milwaukee series. He was so inconsistent throughout the Miami series. He plays that inconsistent against the Warriors, and yes, the Warriors will beat them in 5. They will beat them in 5 if Jason Tatum plays as inconsistent as he's been playing. The Warriors are good enough to beat the Celtics with Jason Tatum at his best. But if he plays inconsistent like he did against those 2 prior series, then yeah, the Warriors are going to run away with this series. So you can't beat the Warriors with one guy. That's what makes the Boston Celtics so special. They have 4, maybe 5 guys that can probably get you 20 on any given night. Originally it was 4, but now we're going to add Derek White to that mix, and he has played magnificently. So me personally, I'm going to go with the Warriors due to the fact of, their experience and their know-how. They've done it for the last, 8 so years, I honestly believe. And then Clay has got something to play for too, coming off 2 devastating injuries that, and I think he's going to be really hyped to make sure they come out of this with a chip. But for me, I think the Warriors will win, not basically because any motivations on the Warriors. I think the Warriors are going to win because of the inconsistencies of the Celtics. And I love the Celtics. I really do. Dating all the way back from when I first saw Larry Bird. But I just don't think they are just too inconsistent to beat the Warriors. So I'm going to say Warriors in 7.
Okay. Well, there you have it. That's pretty much our predictions. I don't know if we'll do a game recap by game recap basis. kind of comes down to my work schedule and stuff like
It
that.
comes down to Matt. It comes down to Matt. Whenever Matt decides he wants to come out of hiding, then get at me. Get at me. It depends on Matt. You do a video whenever Matt can come up. Now, obviously, if the series is over and we do a recap video, that's fine. But whenever Matt is available, you just let me know.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it depends on Matt. So, Matt, when you hear this, get at us, please.
So, no, there's the Mr. Matt. I'll make if whenever I talk to you, I'll make sure you watch this part of the video. So, yeah, but
I don't understand. Where you at?
he's in
I ain't seen him. It's been almost a year now. Has it been a year?
I think so.
We just spent basically a whole football season. I haven't seen anything about him. Nothing about the Patriots, nothing about the Celtics. And they're both really good teams. The Celtics are in the NBA Finals, for goodness sake. The Patriots actually made it to the playoffs. Come on, man. Come on, Matt. Show up. Give me something. I'm waiting.
So we're gonna get out of here, guys. Again, I'll think about if I want to do after game week game recaps based on the NBA Finals, since it is the NBA Finals. So yeah, but definitely you will be getting an NBA Finals recap after the series is over. And that will be pretty much it of talking NBA basketball, other than, well, next year, whether that's based on free agency moves and stuff like that. But again, things to look forward for the channel. I have to find time in my schedule to probably I can do it Wednesday since I'm taking off work for that day, to do my Angels month of May recap, which I'll just say they did not have the best series this past series, and I was actually not shocked to see why they did. But guess what?
Because they played the Blue Jays.
They played the Blue Jays and they suck.
Exactly. That's why you're feeling so down. They played the Blue Jays.
I was never high on the Angels. Again, I don't think the Angels are going to make the playoffs again this year. What the Blue Jays series the Blue Jays series only told me what already needed to be told. That the Angels, they had a nice little good run to start off the season, and then when the things start to crack down against these good teams, they can't show up and beat these teams. And of course, their bullpen turned into what I always love to call them for the past 5-6 years, the blow pen, because they had 3 straight leads in the last 3 games. And what did they all do? They blew. They were up 9-6, and they still blew that lead. Going on. Expect that probably June 1st or something like that. I'll record the video sometime. Maybe I could record the video whenever I have time today, because they don't play the Yankees till tomorrow, and I'll count that one Yankees game.
When it's all said and done, it really don't matter. The Houston Astros are going to win the West. The Yankees are going to win the East. So, and the Central is up for grabs because, I don't think any of them teams really want to win it. They're going to act like they want to win it. Minnesota, Chicago. But when it's all said and done, those 2 teams are going to stand head and shoulders above everybody else, Houston and the New York Yankees, as much as we hate to say it.
Yep. And then again, look forward to we're gonna have to come up at some day to come up with, probably after maybe before NFL preseason, but probably after NFL preseason predictions for the entire league in general, as well as me and my Uncle Darell will separately do a video talking about our predictions for the Chicago Bears and everything in terms of where do we see this team going. I don't think this team's going to go far. I hope they just tank so they can get a high draft pick.
They're rebuilding, so it's safe to assume that we're not necessarily building to do. We're setting a foundation for this year, but I think with all the cap money that we have for next year, that's when we'll start making that push towards viable free agents, making sure that we have balance and depth at all the positions. Next year is going to be the one, because that's when we have cap money to make sure we actually do something towards rebuilding this team. This year, I think it's going to be a wash.
Oh, yeah. And then also, too, we will definitely also, since college football is coming back as well, I also want to do more college football content. So we'll definitely have
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Of course you do. You want to say it? Go ahead and say it. Roll Tide. Go ahead and say it. No USC, no UCLA. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you who is in the Pac-12 or whatever y'all calling that conference out there out west. But unfortunately, it ain't the SEC. The SEC is going to reign again. So let's just do a video. It'll be about 10 minutes where you go on and on and on. And I just take my last minute of the video just to simply say, Roll Tide.
Okay, no. We'll just do our college football predictions for all the conferences. Who do we think is going to come out?
I'll be quiet for the entire video, and you just let me have the last minute.
Well, yeah, we'll do our predictions on who we expect to win the conference, and then who we expect to be in the Final Four for the college football playoffs. Then who will more than likely win the championship, which will probably
yeah. We can do that right now. Alabama. 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 Nick Saban is pulling the wool over y'all eyes. Y'all have no idea. Alabama.
Well, we'll see when we make the video and stuff like that. But yeah, the things to look forward. I'm just happy that football is coming back soon. So yeah, that's just me. But other than that, any other things on this video that you want to make mention of in terms of the NBA?
No, I mean, I'm good. Between Matt and your predictions about college football, which seem, just irrelevant, and just anything outside of the SEC, we should just do an SEC video. Let's just do an SEC video. We got Alabama, we got Georgia. We can talk NIL deals. We can talk all of that stuff as it relates to SEC, because we all know where the championship is coming from. The championship is coming out of the SEC, like for the most part it has been religiously over the past few years.
Well, I guess that's where we're gonna end this video.
Amen.
So, well, if you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on the NBA finals as well as your conference finals, as well as hit the subscribe button to Camper 15 Talk Sports if you want to get more sports content, whether it's the NBA, NFL, college football, or MLB in terms of my Angels. I kind of just dropped covering the MLB league-wide because there's so many games I would have to look over, and there's just freaking no time to watch that stuff's long with work. But yeah, that's the thing. If you also want to subscribe to my main channel, Cam315, that's what it is, where I just talk movies, anime, and Disney Plus shows that come out. If you're wondering if I'm talking Obi-Wan, I'm not, because I'm not really a Star Wars savant, but I like Star Wars.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I honestly think, and I know you want to cut this video short, but I honestly think that when it's all said and done, after these 6 episodes of Obi-Wan, it's going to be so awesome. You're going to want to do a video.
Oh, maybe.
You will. It's if the next 4 are anything like the first 2, what we have to look forward to, I honestly think you're going to want to do a video.
I don't think so, because I didn't do videos when Book of Boba Fett came out. So,
Boba Fett started off slow. It did. This one, on the other hand, hit you in the mouth in the first few minutes.
Yeah, we'll see.
After episode 2, come on now.
We'll see, but I will say on the channel what we'll definitely be talking about is Miss Marvel, which is the next Marvel Disney Plus show. But look, I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to go head over to my main channel and stuff like that. So yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your day or night. Watching this video. Until then, guys, hopefully, you guys are staying safe out there, and hopefully, you guys have a great rest of your evening or day. Till then, guys, peace.